Matthew 9:35 says, Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching and proclaiming the good news. Towns and villages. In his 50-plus years of ministry, Dr. Barney Wells has followed in Jesus' footsteps. God gave Barney a heart for rural churches, and over the last 5 decades, he has ministered not only in towns, but also in the tiniest of villages. Barney was born in Ellettsville, Indiana, population 1,200, to parents Bill and Lois. Raised in the Ellettsville Christian Church, where his parents were active volunteers, Barney doesn't really remember a time when he wasn't a believer. He remembers sitting at a little round church table as a preschooler, getting into a disagreement with his teacher over the theological significance of a small toy tractor. He thought that tractor was critical to his faith development, much more important than the teacher's lesson. But just then, a wonderful man named Charlie stepped in to help the poor teacher. Charlie carried Barney in his big, strong arms out of class to a wooden sign where Charlie was putting up cardboard numbers. He asked Barney to help, and Barney was so proud. After all, Charlie was the Sunday school superintendent. So in 4-year-old Barney's mind, he was now Charlie's assistant superintendent. Barney's parents were youth sponsors, so they crammed little Barney and a bunch of teenagers into their Nash Rambler station wagon to head for youth rallies. His parents often hosted revival speakers, visiting missionaries, and Bible college professors, and there in his parents' living room, on a large avocado green sofa, Barney got a front row seat to conversations with preachers like Idleman, Merrill, Ewald, Maxey, and Laughlin. Those conversations, says Barney, were life-shaping. Barney was baptized at the age of 12. But near the end of his freshman year, he realized he was too interested in sin to really be a Christian and too much of a Christian to really enjoy sinning. It was time to choose one path or the other. And he knew immediately which way he would go. He assumed that once he committed his life to Christian service, God would hand him a roadmap with each step charted out. But it didn't work out that way. Barney prayed for God to show him where to serve, but still had no clue until one day, as he was silently complaining about his youth minister, he was suddenly struck a deep conviction. He shouldn't complain if he wasn't going to serve himself. Barney decided to be a youth minister. He sensed God's calling, and besides, he thought, now I can go to camp and concerts and get paid for it. In high school, Barney preached his first sermon at the Christian church in Hinduston, Indiana, population 20. Then in 1973, after he graduated from high school, Barney enrolled at Lincoln Christian College. While attending LCC, Barney served as youth minister at the Salisbury Christian Church in Salisbury, Indiana, population 182, towns and villages. He met and married Marcia Brown in 1977, and together they began attending Lincoln Christian Seminary. Barney said his Lincoln education taught him how to think, not just what to know. But one thing Barney thought he knew, he was sure he would never be a preacher. But while they were at LCS, Barney discovered he actually loved preaching. He preached at Mount Pleasant Christian Church outside of Carthage, Illinois, population 2,900. And then in 1981, shortly before graduating from LCS, Barney became the preaching minister of Walnut Grove Christian Church outside of Arcola, Illinois. Now, Arcola's population was 2,800, but Walnut Grove was not even in town. It was at a lonely little country crossroads surrounded by cornfields. And there at Walnut Grove, he and Marcia served for the next 25 years. Barney and Marcia have 2 daughters, Christy and Sarah, and one of the joys of serving the same church for over a quarter of a century, Barney says, is not just seeing your kids grow up in that church, but seeing the growth of the church people over time. Watching a rambunctious toddler grow into a missionary, a teen with very little church connection come to Christ, or a couple who lost their farm still find joy in serving on a children's ranch. In 1995, Barney enrolled at Bethel Theological Seminary, graduating as one of only a half dozen people in the world with a doctorate in rural ministry. And he returned to Bethel the following year to teach others about rural ministry. Then, in 2007, Barney joined the faculty at his alma mater of Lincoln Christian University. Meanwhile, Marcia became the children's minister at Lincoln Christian Church, which, Barney says, made him the first volunteer and all-time bouncer at every kids' event. In 2010, Barney joined the seminary faculty and eventually served as seminary dean from 2014 to 2022. These days, Barney is serving at Johnson University in Tennessee as the director of the Fred Craddock Center for Preaching Excellence, and he is a sought-after expert on rural church ministry. He wrote a book entitled Leading Through Change, Shepherding the Town and Country Church in a New Era. And God has used Barney to encourage and equip thousands of ministers, serving in towns and villages and sometimes at lonely little country crossroads. And Barney's been able to remind them that if God could raise the Savior of the world in places like Bethlehem and Nazareth, then maybe God is up to something in the little place you're serving. Thinking back over a lifetime of ministry now, Barney says, any success I've had can be attributed first to Christ, then to my wife Marcia, and then to those men who invested in him. Men like Jim Root, the minister at Salisbury Christian Church, where Barney was youth minister. Men like Dr. Wayne Shaw, Barney's preacher growing up. Men like Dr. Tesh at Lincoln, and others like Lynn Laughlin and Don Green and Silas McCormick, faithful leaders in hard times. And men like Charlie, that big Sunday school superintendent so many years ago who carried a squirrely preschooler out of class and later sent him money to help Barney go to Bible college. And because of men like these, Barney has not only served the Lord's church in places large and small, he has also equipped the next generation to follow in the footsteps of Jesus, who went through all the towns and villages teaching and proclaiming the good news. Dr. Barney Wells, on behalf of all of us at Ozark Christian College and Lincoln Seminary, well done, good and faithful servant.